What's up, wrestling fans? Welcome back to G.W.R. Gonzo's Wrestling Room. I'm Chris Gonzalez, joined by Tony Gonzalez again.
How's it
Uh,
going?
been a pretty busy week in wrestling.
Yeah, it has
And,
been.
there was some good stuff that happened on some of the shows this week. There was also some stuff I really didn't care for, but
Yeah,
we
yes,
going you want to talk about the shows first?
yeah, definitely.
I know you're going to start with Raw. One thing I got to say, the Kevin Owens thing was one of the best things I've ever seen. When he
Yeah,
with that glass when the glass shattering hit and that camera panned the audience and you saw the people saying, "Oh my God," everybody was going crazy. And
yeah,
they done it perfect because he waited a minute before he came out.
yeah. Did it in Chicago, and the fans went crazy. And not only that, he got him twice
Yeah.
because when he was out there, doing that, then they played it again, and they thought he was Stone Cold was ever coming out to confront him, and he started laughing. It was fantastic. The one thing about that, real quick, I want to go into that I couldn't believe. Some of these guys have got a grudge, and some of their some of their opinions is because of their grudge. It ain't reality. And I don't know if you've seen this or not. Taz came out and hammered WWE Creative. Said you can't do better than that. Said that he didn't like the segment. That's not being creative. It's been done before. What's not been done? Right? Yeah, I know people's came out before. Miz came out as The Rock. Here a few years ago. I mean, Triple H and them came out as oh, as The Rock and Mark Henry, DX came out. I mean, that stuff's been done all over the place. But
Mhm.
I mean, why? I mean, the crowd loved it. It was one of the biggest things that happened this week in wrestling. And I just don't understand. Just because you hate the WWE, you have to speak about it. If you don't like it, don't like it. Why did you have to speak about
Yeah. What wasn't creative about it?
it? He just says that
Oh,
they've
yeah.
got all kinds of writers and they could do better than that. What
Wait,
is
what you gonna do better, in my opinion, because you got the whole building thought it was Stone Cold. You fooled the whole building. What are you going to do that's better than that? That's what you wanted to do. That's what wrestling's about, is getting reaction, and they got a reaction from every person in that stadium.
and if you also social media blew up about it. The views blew up about it. It did exactly what they wanted to do with it, and anybody could put on a costume and whatever. Kevin Owens was fantastic. I mean, He's fantastic when he's a good guy. He's fantastic when he's a bad guy. He's one of the most underrated guys in wrestling right now.
The
He
only
really,
thing that I noticed out of all of it was that, like, when he was out there talking, you could see where some of the stuff was starting to crack. But
yeah,
that's going to happen just from moving. And I mean,
but yeah,
but I'll tell you what, they done a pretty good job doing that thing to make him bald, though,
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, because there was a guy commented on this one group I go to, uh, the Busted Open fan thing. This guy originally thought he shaved his head. He thought that was when he first came out. He thought Kevin Owens had really shaved his head. Of course he didn't. But yeah, it was fantastic. Raw was real good this week. Some of the highlights, real quick. Finn Balor and Austin Theory had a real good match. Pat McAfee came out and kept messing with Theory. McAfee is fantastic. I think this Theory and McAfee thing could possibly end up being a show stealer at WrestleMania. I really think. I mean, McAfee's going to go out. Theory's going to go out. He's young and coming up. It's an opportunity on a big stage for him. I don't know how much Vince McMahon's going to be involved. Yeah, it was really
it's
good.
it's probably, I mean, it's the biggest opportunity that Theory's had, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
being at WrestleMania, and I mean, in a pretty high profile match, because I mean, McAfee's he's a
yeah.
popular dude. I
We'll
know he's
see.
not the biggest high profile guy in like the wrestling world, but he's
Uh,
he's starting to be one of the more high profile guys in the wrestling world.
yeah, and Theory's only 24 years old, 24, 25 years old. So it's a big opportunity. I mean, if he does well here, the sky's the limit, for him. So next thing I want to talk about was the Becky Lynch promo. I liked the promo. It was a little different, but I don't know if you've seen it. But man, I've heard a lot of people comment on it both ways. I've heard like Tommy Dreamer loved it. Bully Ray hated it. I mean, it was like a 50-50 split of people that I seen. Now, Bully Ray said that most of what he's seen was positive. It just didn't resonate with him. It was a little bit different for her. She's really trying hard to be a heel, but the fans still cheer. So it just, she's in a kind of no-win situation. I don't know who decided to make her a heel, but you know, that's the direction they went, and she's doing the best she can. But the fans want to cheer. So it's kind of a tough situation. The next thing, and I just read an update on this a little bit, was Seth Rollins situation. He came out and challenged AJ Styles and got himself put in a match against AJ Styles. And if he won that match, he got to wrestle Edge at WrestleMania, not Styles. They had a real good match. Of course, Styles ended up winning. Now Rollins, don't have a match still for WrestleMania, and he threw a big fit and was breaking stuff and just going crazy and did a lot of bullshit, cussing and stuff, and they was bleeping him and said that next week's Raw would not start until he got a match at WrestleMania. Well, I just read a thing that WWE just put out that Vince McMahon texted Seth Rollins and expects him to be in his office at 9 a.m. Monday morning for a meeting with him. So you'll find out more on Monday Night Raw coming up Monday night. And Monday Night Raw, they've got for next week, they've got a confrontation between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns are going to be on Monday Night Raw. They've got the Usos going to wrestle RK Bro in a non-title match, but neither one's putting up the belts. And of course, you got this thing with Seth Rollins going. So Monday Night Raw, the one before WrestleMania, should be real good. So, but I thought Raw was real good this week. I really like the show.
Yeah, I haven't seen all of it, but I've seen over half of it. And what I saw, I thought was real good. Like I said, I loved the Kevin Owens stuff. That was some of my best stuff. I thought it was some of the best stuff I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I agree. Real quick though, before we get off Raw, one rumor coming up is I think it would be fantastic, but and I think I'd mentioned to you off the air, but Omos is going to have a match, they believe, at WrestleMania. But the rumor is that it's going to be Bobby Lashley coming back early to come after him. I think that would be fantastic.
Yeah, I think that'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, I would like to see that. So that would be cool. So,
you think it's going to be Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins?
I would think so. The only other thing I could think they would go with if they want to save Cody would be Rollins out in the ring, running his mouth, and Undertaker come out and maybe do a match, But I don't think Undertaker wants that. So I don't think so. I think it's going to be Cody. I hope it is.
That'd be good.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the way WWE set up right now, and the way Cody Rhodes went out and made a name for himself, Cody Rhodes, if they wanted to, very easily, they could make him a huge star in WWE.
Yeah.
I mean, they really could. I mean, they're never going to make a megastar. They don't want to make megastars again for them to go away to be acting and go away. They don't want that anymore. But they still could make them a huge star as they wanted to make it. I really believe it. So, moving on to NXT. The opening match, I don't know if you've seen it, was really good. It was Solo Sikoa against Roderick Strong. And Sikoa won the match and is a qualifier for the ladder match. It's going to be at Stand and Deliver. That was a real good match. I thought, Sikoa is getting better and better. I wouldn't be shocked within 6 months if he's not up on the main roster with Roman Reigns in it.
I think he's another one that could be a big star for him.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of different ways you could go with him. Yeah, I agree. So they had another qualifier for the ladder match. It was Waller, who beat the newcomer that came over from A-Kid that came over from UK, and that was a good match. I wish they'd have given a little bit more time, but Waller won that. So man, you got Waller and you got Solo Sikoa in that ladder match. You've got can't remember the guy's name, the Phantasmo, but he's not using that name now. But the Mexican guy there, he's in the ladder match also with Carmelo Hayes, and they're adding one more. They're having another qualifying match this week. So I think it's going to be a big ladder match, and they're going to go all out. Shawn Michaels is going to be producing that with Carmelo Hayes, and I think it's going to be really good. Another match that was fantastic was Braun Breaker against Robert Roode. It was a killer match. It really was. Breaker's getting better and better. Letting him work with guys like Roode and Dolph Ziggler is very smart, I think, So I don't think it'll be long for Breakers up on the main roster. It may come as soon as right after WrestleMania. I wouldn't be shocked. I'd rather him hold off maybe another 3 or 4 months, but I don't think it'll be real long. And then also, probably one of the best ladies tag team matches that I've seen in a long time. Katie Lee Ray and Lo Shirai wrestled not very well known Wendy Chu, and of course Dakota Kai, who's pretty good. And it was a heck of a match. Katie Lee Ray and Lo Shirai won. That was the Dusty Rhodes Classic Tag Team Tournament women's version, and they won the cup. But instead, they were supposed to get a tag team title match with the champions. Well, instead of wanting the tag team title match, they asked to be moved for a fatal 4-way for the women's championship. So that's what they're going to be in at the Stand and Deliver. So it's. I thought NXT was real good. I went back and forth on Raw and NXT, which one I like the best. I think I'm going to give, just because of the Kevin Owens thing, I'm going to give them a slight edge over NXT. But I think NXT is getting better and better. I've seen some reviews. I don't understand people. Just because it's not black and gold, they're never going to give it an opportunity or a chance. And they're putting out
either that or because it's WWE.
Yeah.
You get a lot of people that are like that. It don't matter what WWE does, they're never going to give WWE any credit.
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
And AEW could do the exact same shit, and they'd praise it.
Yeah.
Like if AEW would have done what that KO done with the Stone Cold, if AEW would have done something like that, Taz would have been talking about how great it was.
Yeah.
And how great their creative is. He wouldn't be burying their creative.
Well, my thing, whether he liked it or not, why does he need to comment on it? He definitely does not like WWE. He had a falling out with him. Why not just do his stuff? I mean, I don't understand. It don't make sense to me. Okay, moving on to Dynamite. Dynamite had a real good first match with CM Punk and Dax Harwood. It was a great match. The only problem is there was no story going into it. They didn't announce it. I don't think they even decided to have the match till the day of. So it was just a good match. I mean, there's no word that you're going to go with it.
Yeah.
But it was a great match, and I mean, I can't put it down. It was a real good classic wrestling match, so I enjoyed it. The next thing is Bryan Danielson and Moxley wrestled the Varsity Blondes, and they just destroyed the Varsity Blondes. I mean, they beat the crap out of them. And Danielson did most of the promo, and so it was really good. And they've got a name now, and I meant to write it down. I forgot. The Black Label. I believe it's the Black Label Fight Club.
Yeah, it was something like that. I saw that, and I was like, "This is a kind of a weird name." But
no, Blackpool, because that's where what's his name's from, Blackpool, England. So it's a Blackpool Fight Club, and they've already got T-shirts out. So that's where Regal's from. But Moxley did the promo, and it was really good. So I mean, I'm all about Danielson and Moxley being together. So I thought it was real good. I don't know, the Varsity Blondes been losing an awful lot, and not, I think they're going in the wrong direction with them. So I don't know, but we'll see. Jay Lethal and Adam Cole was a good match. It was solid. And then that was in the second half of the show. The first half of the show was pretty good. The second half of the show was terrible. And even people that love AEW was talking about how terrible it was. So I don't know what happened. The Jericho's new group, I don't know.
I was disappointed in that. I was excited because, like you said, the second half of the show wasn't great, and when Jericho was coming out there at the end, I'm like, okay, this might save the second half of the show, and it wasn't no better. I didn't understand. It just fell flat to me.
I don't think the group has chemistry. I don't know. I don't know if they made the right decision. Give it a little bit more time. I know that Garcia is a good wrestler, I don't know if the other two guys are ready to be main event guys. I think that's the problem. I don't think they should have been in the main event. They didn't do
I'll
me.
give Jericho some credit in the fact that he's worked his ass off and he's in great shape.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's worked his butt off and got shape. So there's no doubt about that. Yeah, I agree with that. So my weekly winner for this week, them are the three shows I got to see this week was Raw, and then I would have went with NXT and Dynamite. I thought out of the three was the worst. Had some decent matches. Like I said, the first hour was a solid first hour, but the second hour was not very good at all. So
and like that match with CM Punk, that was to me that was like a match you would see like on a house show where it's just something put together and there's no storyline and they just go. Because I mean, like you said, it was a great match, but it just did.
well,
To me, if you had some kind of build up to it, it'd been even better.
Well, that's a lot of the problem with a lot of matches they put Danielson in. You know, he wrestled that Yuta, he wrestled these guys, and this for the. I mean, it's fine for the diehard AEW fans who just want to see Danielson wrestle and see a good match. There's nothing wrong with good matches, but again, going back, if you want to get other people to watch, you got to have some stories, and there's just not. Or even the casual fan. If the casual fan tunes in, puts on the TV, and he sees Daniel Bryan, he goes to hey, and then he sees a guy named William Yuta. He don't know. He's not going to stay on it. Now, if it would have been Dustin Rhodes or just a bigger name, they may have a better chance of sticking around and watching. Yeah. And then you add some story to it. So I don't know. We'll see. The next thing I want to talk about was Triple H. He announced his retirement from wrestling, from in-ring competition.
In-ring competition.
Like he was retiring from WWE. That wasn't the case. Just from in-ring. And it has came out that the original plan, Triple H was going to have a big role in WrestleMania with a match. And he just can't. They had a defibrillator put in, and he just, he can't wrestle anymore. So that's too bad. I don't think Triple H gets enough credit for what he's done for wrestling, what he's done for a lot of young people's careers, especially when NXT, and I understand, back in the 90s, he may have been a jerk and had pull and with Vince and may have been an asshole jerk to some people. And if he was, that's between him and those people. But as he got older and matured and stuff, he helped a lot of people. He helped make a lot of people. If you go back and look at his WWE WrestleMania record, he's got a lot more losses than he does wins at WrestleMania. Well,
yeah. So, and like we were talking about yesterday, he created the perfect wrestling show.
I agree.
I mean, with the original NXT, and that was his baby. Look what he made. Created with that. So I mean, when Vince does decide to step down, if they get where Triple H is the one leading, I think it's going to be in good hands because you're going to have guys like Shawn Michaels and them other guys are going to stick around because they have a good working relationship, and you might see some of the other guys come back and help as well too.
Well, and not only that, Chris, you got the perfect wrestling guy, wrestling mind, who loved NWA, who loves pro wrestling, which Vince does not love pro wrestling. He likes the entertainment side. But Shawn Michaels and them, even though they love the wrestling side, they've learned from Vince about the entertainment stuff, and they should be able to mix it enough and put a product out there that I think that could bring masses back. I don't think it's ever going to be like it was, but I think that if they was given an opportunity, and you stop and think about some of the young wrestlers that where would Adam Cole be right now? He's probably making a couple $1 million a year right now over in AEW. Without being on NXT, he would not be making that money right now. He wouldn't be. Same way with a lot of other wrestlers, over there, and the opportunities they're getting. A lot of that's because of a lot of it's because of their talent. I'm not taking anything away from their talent and stuff like that, but a lot of it's because they were given an opportunity and given a lot of skill and direction, and information from Triple H to help their career. So I think Triple H deserves a lot of credit. He won't get it because he's Vince's boy, son-in-law and all this stuff. But and I'm sure Shawn Michaels did a lot of shit that he's not proud of, and I'm sure Triple H did too. backstage stuff and being jerks and stuff like that. But I think that was the time. I mean, at that time, when Triple H and Shawn Michaels was doing that there, you had Kevin Nash and Hulk Hogan and Scott Hall doing it over there. That's the way things were done back then. I think it's a different now. And I'm not making excuses for it, but I just, I think it's different now. I think Triple H deserves a lot more credit than what he gets. I just read something the other day with Shawn Michaels, and this is probably not 100% correct, but his record at WrestleMania is like 5-12. He's lost a lot more matches than he's won, but he's still called Mr. WrestleMania. So all these people, most people think, well, 5-13. What would most people say now? The wrestling fans say now, well, he's a jobber.
Yeah,
he's a jobber because he loses. Well, you don't have. It ain't about wins and losses, but you can't. A lot of people can't get.
That's where I think. That's where I thought AEW messed up, was trying to keep records and stuff, because, and if you want to call it pro wrestling or you just want to call it sports entertainment, whatever you want to call it, the records, if there's story to it, records don't mean shit.
Right now, you got,
just like you said, yeah, Michaels has probably lost more than he's won. He's lost more than he won in WrestleMania, but he's considered by most people to be the best WrestleMania performer of all time. A lot of people, I mean,
Ric Flair says he's the best wrestler of all time.
Yeah.
Greatest worker of all time. So, I mean, I don't know. Right now, as far as if people want to watch a pure, real wrestling show, and the only pure, real wrestling show out there right now is NWA. It really is. It's a pure wrestling show. If you want to watch a pure wrestling show, watch NWA. If people try to say AEW is a pure wrestling show, they're full of shit. It is WWE sports entertainment, and AEW might be a notch underneath of it, but it's still sports entertainment. Impact does pretty good, but they do some sports entertainment too. They do some different stuff too. The purest pro wrestling show right now is NWA by far. It ain't even close.
And I think you have to have, in this day and age, you have to have a mixture of the pro wrestling and the sports entertainment if you're going to grow your company. I don't think in this day and age you're just going to be an all pro wrestling, like you're talking about with NWA, and you're going to get as big as the other companies. I think you have to have a mixture of both.
NWA is never going to get that big, but if they got to get on TV, they got to get a TV show or get on the network. Which originally, that's what I listened to an interview one day on Busted Open, and that's what that owner, the guy from what's his name now, Smashing Pumpkins, the lead singer from them, he owns that. He said originally that was the plan. They were going to go on the network, and it fell through. And if it would got on the network, I think it would have did well. So I think if you could get them back on that, nostalgia is a good thing. I mean, you can't rely on it. But if you could get them back on TV at 6:05 on Saturday nights, I think a lot of fans would tune in for an hour and a half program on the right network or whatever. I don't know what that network is, but yeah, Triple H.
There isn't more TV networks that try to get like an NWA or something, because, I mean, people can say what they want about pro wrestling, but pro wrestling does good on TV. It outdoes most other programs on TV. So,
well, yeah, because now, AEW is only doing, a million, pretty much about $1 million. But if you go down and look on a Wednesday night, they're in the top 10, cable programs. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know why they don't, but yeah, it don't make sense. But I wish they'd get an opportunity. I think NWA deserves it, but I think Triple H deserves a lot more credit. But like I said, he's not going to get it. I know I read some stuff that people, saying, they're sorry that he retired, but I always hated Triple H anyway. So I don't get it. Did you want to talk some about the show that we went to last night?
Yeah,
we went to WCWO. The show title was Madness. It was their big monthly end of the month show. I thought it was a fantastic show. I really enjoyed it. 9 matches on the card. I know me and you had talked during the show that there was like 5 matches that could be match of the night. It was that close, and there really wasn't any bad matches on the show, but it it was really good. It's one of their longer shows. I mean, usually their shows over by 10 o'clock. They start 7:30 and they do about 10. I think we didn't get out there to probably 10:45, so it was a little longer than normal. But it
No,
was real
it took them a
entertaining.
few minutes to set up for the main event.
Yep, yep. So it
And
was a really
honestly, there was another one of them shows that almost every match on there could have been a main event on a regular show at other promotions. I mean,
yeah.
and
I
and there was something else that just reiterated in my mind last night is WCWO is one of the best organizations in the state of Indiana around that we've seen. I mean, man, if you look at what they put out on a weekly basis and the quality of shows they put out every week, I mean,
I'll go ahead.
I don't know who you could say is really better than them right now.
I'll go ahead and say it. I mean, I've seen probably how many different promotions have we seen? Probably about 7 or 8.
Yeah,
So we've seen 7 or
we've
8.
seen live. Yes.
Seen live.
And seen multiple shows, not just like a one-off. We've seen multiple shows of theirs.
And I'm a huge fan of DCCW. I think they're right up there. But when you add the fact that WCWO is doing it weekly, to me, I don't see a better promotion out there.
And the story, and not only do it weekly, the storylines that they continuously come up with for every week and every month to have that big show at the end.
And the fact they're mixing in some of the old talent, back that, maybe the guy's not what he used to be, but fans still would like to see him. He's not there every week, but they're bringing a mix, and they got their young guys and they got new guys starting. They got a new class, 10, 12, how many guys they got in their new class, but they do a fantastic job, and it was a really good show. My favorite match, and it wasn't because of necessarily of the wrestling. Not that the wrestling was bad. The wrestling was still very good. But I think my favorite match of the night was the Mike King and Conga Kong against Dutch Boy Platinum and JB. And don't I hope they don't take this the wrong way, because Mike King and Conga Kong was fantastic, but Dutch Boy Platinum and JB were outstanding. The role that they played and the stuff that they pulled off, I thought it was fantastic. Them guys are continuously growing with their moves and stuff inside the ring, but also the character and
being able to work the crowd, and the storyline of that match was awesome. And then the way they were able to portray the storyline, I mean, it came out perfect.
Well, look at the character that character. I mean, they were good wrestlers 6 months ago, but that character wasn't, and that you can see that character develop in front of our eyes. And these guys are getting better and better. And the same thing with the other person that was in won the championship match, the #1 contenders match with Dex.
Logan Myers.
You can see he's getting better and better in his character, and Dex has got a good character, and you see they're going different ways with that. And same thing with the highlight reel. They're going in a different direction and different layers to their character. So I mean, they do a fantastic job there.
Dex is he's so explosive, man. He's fast, man. Like those, man, when he throws them uppercuts and stuff, they're so quick. Man, they look so good.
Well, and his athletic ability when he moves in the ring, and so effortlessly. He's fantastic.
A couple things that I got from last night too was there was a couple people on that card last night that I think are severely underrated in the independent scene. One is Brody Botkins. I think Brody Botkins is. I think he's great. I think he has a lot of potential. He could be on a company someday. He's a bigger dude, but he can move. I mean, we've seen him do flips off the top rope and stuff. I mean, but he's good. And he has a good character, and he does a good job working the crowd. He plays. I think him, and then Jordan James. I think Jordan James is real underrated and should be getting booked more places than what he does. Because you can put him in the ring. We've seen him in there with about anybody.
Yep.
And he's great at working a crowd. He's a great bad guy. And from what I hear, he's even behind the scenes, he don't complain. It's just like he shows up, whoever they tell him he's going to wrestle, he goes, does his work, and
and that was a little different match too. I mean, that match was a lot of submission holds and working a body part, old school match, and it was a good match. It told a good story. Uh,
And he
yeah,
chopped, dude. He was chopping the fuck out of Rachel, man.
yeah, it was. We seen a lot of vicious chops last night from a lot of people.
That
But
and then, I'll tell you one thing. I wouldn't want to take a chop from Congo Kong. That
no,
dude's hand about as long as my damn chest.
I know it. Another guy that I want to mention as far as being real underrated is Jackson
Yes,
Morgan.
he's
I
another
think
one.
he's underrated. And I tell you something, I was thinking about here while we was talking, and we got to see a tag, a real good, was it a three-way or was it a four-way? I think it was the one
Three-way.
with was a three-way tag with Dalton in there,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes.
Yeah. That was a real good match. Could have been match of the night. I mean, it was right up there. It was a real good match. I really enjoyed
Yes,
it.
it was real good.
But I'll tell you, and how I feel about the highlight reel. I think they're the best tag team in Indiana. I don't see personally very many teams even close to them. But with a lot of tag teams we've seen and stuff, I tell you what, Dalton Love and Luke Savage, these promotions out here should be booking them because their characters are getting better. Seen a bunch of improvement in both of their characters, and both their in-ring ability is getting better and better. And I mean, I'd be booking that tag team like crazy because I don't know. Some people would probably get upset if I said they're the second best tag team. I don't know if they're that good yet, but they're definitely heading up their top
Yes.
five. I mean, very quickly. I mean, very good.
I'll tell you something. Another guy that impressed me last night with his development is Zay Gates
Yep. Well, both of them,
and
Zay
and Eric too. But you
and
could
not
just see a big difference. Like the first time we saw them, you could tell they were kind of nervous. They would. Now it's just they're out there and they're just flowing, and it's
again their character. I mean, their in ring was still solid, still good. I'm not, but their character is what's coming out. And yeah, so I mean, and be able to see that in front of our eyes, it's pretty neat, And we get to see them a lot, We see them in DCCW, and we watch their shows, that they put on when we don't go down there. So we get to see those guys a lot. So I guess that's an advantage, But yeah, right now the number one promotion for me is WCWO, and I hope nobody takes offense. That's just my opinion. Ain't like I'm an expert or anything, but that's what I think.
Who you think threw the hardest chop last night? I'm gonna go with Dex. Dex chopped Logan Myers a couple times. It sounded like a damn cinder block hit his chest. I mean, it was so loud.
That was some hard ones there, but there were some hard ones in that four-way match with K3
yep.
and Jackson Morgan and who else was in that match?
Juwan Thomas.
Juwan Thomas. Yeah, there was some big chops with Juwan and them.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I think it was IK3 hit Juwan one time with a big one too.
Yeah.
But yeah. Dex, that one Dex got might have been.
There's some man. They were. That's one thing, and that's why, and because you're the same way. But that's one thing I liked so much last night was it was hard hitting. I mean,
yeah, hard hitting. The one guy I don't want to leave him out. The fourth guy in that match. Chris, I'm terrible with names. He's the United States champion in DCCW.
Oh, Max Sterling.
Max Sterling. He was the fourth guy. That was another match that could have been matches. There was 5 matches that if somebody would have told me that was their match of the night, you couldn't argue with it, Chris.
No.
I mean, you couldn't. You really couldn't. That's how good the show was. Yeah, and Oman, one of the trainers down there, and of course JKO. Man, they deserve a lot of credit, and also all of his other people that I don't know all their names, and I don't want to leave nobody out, but all the production people and the referees and everybody there that helps from the concessions, everything. They do a great job. So yeah, but the slogan is the best 12. Go to see the show, best $12 you ever spend. I agree with that. Couldn't argue that at all.
Oh yeah. Where could we have went on a Friday night and only spent $12 and got entertained like we did last night? I mean,
yeah, we went down on our way and stopped at a place we like to eat, had a great meal, and went to the show and got thoroughly entertained. Yeah, 'cause we had a great night. So yeah, it was fantastic.
And everybody there's all so respectful too. Like right after the show, that you see them coming out, talking to the crowd, thanking the crowd for coming, shaking people's hands and stuff.
And
And
they've got
it's just it's a big family.
that show was sold out, and that place only probably holds 100 or maybe a little more on a sellout. That was standing room only. But there's probably a good nucleus of 40 or 50 that come to that show probably every week. So that's almost like the fans are like part of the family too.
Yeah.
So uh, and uh, and some of them don't come every week, may come every other week, or come to the monthly show. So I mean, they got a real good fan base. One of the better fan bases. I compare it to like kind of like Kokomo. I thought that was one of the better fan bases. I think DCCW's got a great fan base. So
Well, these organizations are doing something right when you go back to watch more than once, and you're seeing the same group of fans there, but then you're also seeing new faces as well.
yeah, just like the Summit Pro, like we said, they're a new promotion, and the last time we was there, their crowd doubled from the time before. So I mean, that's what you want. Hopefully, the next time we go, it's up another, doubles, or at least up another, quarter or a third people, of people. So that's what you want. So yeah, people out there, I can't give it enough praise. WCWO, Indianapolis, hour away. Uh, I'm telling you, you go check out that show, you'll love it, especially their monthly shows. But we went to regular weekly shows or their big blow off show at the end of the month on Fridays. Um, we've always been happy. So
We've probably been there what 9 or 10 times now, maybe somewhere around there, probably,
probably getting close to that.
and never been disappointed. I
No,
mean, I've never left there disappointed. And out of those 9 or 10 last night, which is crazy, but last night was the first time we've got to go to one of their end of the
yeah,
month shows live. So it's
yeah.
not like we've just went to all their big shows. We went to mostly their regular Friday night shows.
And we've always been happy with the regular show. But yeah, but this show was the best show. It's right now. It's close. I probably 3 shows right now that I would say are show of the year that we've seen, but it's up there. I mean, it's close. Of course, the Rock and Roll Express one with DCCW was real good, and then one of the first Summit Pro that we went to, I thought was really good, and so I mean, it's really close. I don't think you could say I was wrong if I said either one of them. Was.
Are you saying out of this year?
Just well, the first Summit Pro was actually in December, wasn't it?
Okay, yeah.
So I guess that one counts. So if I was going this year, the best 2 shows I've seen was this one with DCCW, and this one here would be the best 2 shows I've seen.
I was going to say, like last year, you'd have to throw in the other DCCW, that Harvest Havoc. It was right. It was real close up there.
Yeah, I agree.
And but what's the common denominator out of all those?
Yeah.
Joey Owens, ladies man Mike King.
Yep.
And not just ladies man Mike King, but the DCCW staff and the WCWO staff. But them are them are 2 of the guys that do a lot of the booking and
they're kind of intertwined. I mean, a lot of the same wrestlers wrestle both those promotions, and a lot of the behind the scene people, kind of are involved.
Yep.
I'm not, they're 2 separate promotions. They're not the same, but there's some definite,
they do a lot of collaboration and work together as well.
Yeah. So,
and like I was saying yesterday, I'm gonna go ahead and put this out here too, because we were talking about this on the way there. If more promotions in Indiana would do like what DCCW and WCWO do, and more promotions would work together, it's the level of that Indiana independent wrestling could get to, it would just skyrocket. If people would quit just worrying about burying people or trying to cancel people, or their competition, I don't want them to grow. Yeah. No, forget all that. And if everybody would just work together and get along.
Don't even mention cancel to me. Don't get me going.
Yeah, but I mean, but you have so many people that Muncie, for example, we got 2 organizations in Muncie. If they could put their egos aside and work together and do 3 or 4 shows a year together or whatever, and do like a big super show, how much more more could wrestling grow in the city of Muncie? Because we're a wrestling town.
Okay, think about it, Chris.
Both of them get great. I mean, both of them get pretty decent crowds for all their shows.
Okay, on an average show, let's say, well, and I'm only going by one show that I've been to IPW, and we was probably around 100 people.
Yeah,
give or take 10 or 20, either way.
And that's not saying nothing bad, because honestly, if you go to all the other promotions, that's about where we, other than maybe DCCW, has maybe a little more.
Yeah, they're right there.
100 is, I mean, better than some of the promotions we've been to.
Yeah, and it could have been 120, or it could have been 90. No, give or take. And that's what they did that night. And I know I've seen some of and I've only been to one show. I've seen some videos where it looked like it was less. I've seen some videos where it looked like it was about the same. It could have been a little bit more. So they're in that 100 to 150 range, let's say. DCCW, I would say on their normal shows, are probably in that 100 to 150 range, normal shows. Now, when they bring in bigger people, they're more around that 300 or 400 range, which they've been, and it seems like they're going more in that direction, trying to bring in names and getting the bigger crowd. But what do you think if they did 2 shows a year and promoted it right and put the right matches on? I would say that they could do without bringing any big names in. And so, the bigger names, you pay more money. I mean, that's just honest. But if you did that, you probably could bring in 300 or 400 people minimum.
I would think at least at the minimum, at least 250 to 300, because I mean, both of you are getting 100 to 150 on by yourselves most of the time.
Well, think about it. That night that they had the Rock and Roll Express, they were probably between 250 and 300. From all reports I heard, that there was probably, and I wasn't there. I'm just going by what I heard. Now I could be wrong, but I'm going to say there was probably about what there was that one night, 90, 100, 110, 120, in that range, in that 100, maybe even 150, but in that range. So you're talking that night there was probably anywhere from 350 to 450 people in Muncie watching 2 wrestling shows. There was people that went to DCCW show that if there wasn't a DCCW show that night, might have went to IPW. There was definitely some people probably at IPW that if there wasn't a show at IPW would have went to the DCCW show. So again, I think you could do easily 300 to 400. Hell, who knows? You might do 500.
Well, yeah.
But what are you gonna do?
That's one thing that I've noticed in the short time that we've been around doing what we're doing with the podcast stuff, which has been a little under a year still in the wrestling stuff.
Yeah.
If people would just drop some of their egos and work together, I mean, there's a lot of talent. There's a lot of independent wrestling talent in the state of Indiana. I've watched people in the state of Indiana, in my opinion, that are better than quite a few of the people that I watch on TV.
And it is about, I agree with what you said, but also the other key issue is even communicate.
Yeah.
You've had people argue about dates. If you don't want to do shows on the same day, communicate. Because you want to, because for the fans to communicate, so the fans can go to the shows. Don't take away. Communicate.
And I mean, and we're not just talking about one organization or certain. I mean, we're just talking about overall in independent wrestling.
And there's going to be shows on same dates. I mean, there's nothing. Yeah. I mean, April 9th, we know we're going to a show in Jeffersonville, and it's a fundraiser for a kid, I believe, Bubba. And
I think it's called Flex for Bubba too.
And he's been very sick and had a lot of problems and needs some help financially and some other ways. And I know Rikishi's going to be there, but doing a fundraiser for them. And I hope people don't take us the wrong way. I'm not saying anything about them other promotions. There's 5 or 6 shows in Indiana on April 9th. I know there's great big one in Ohio. I mean, that's just nature of the beast. I mean, you're going to have people going to put on the shows and they're going to do the thing, but I mean, Jeffersonville, is a long way away. So, hopefully they'll get some people from Louisville and because it's right over the,
just think what you could do. You're trying to do, because that fundraiser is for a great cause. If you plan it a little earlier and if people would work together and you could get with more promoters and everybody go in, look how much money you could raise for a kid like him. If everybody worked together, then you got one show here and then we got 5 or 6 other shows. What if that night we don't do no other shows at these other places? Everybody help on this one, and it could be a good cause.
Well, at least in that
At least in that area,
100-mile area or something like that. I mean, I can't say that if you're in Mishawaka.
Yeah, because I understand.
Yeah,
You
Mishawaka.
know if everybody worked together, it was just you could put big benefit shows together for people that need it. Not because don't get me wrong, like DCCW does great things with their benefit shows. These people are doing that for both. That stuff's great, but you can even make it bigger.
Yeah,
if you work together.
Well, just like in Indianapolis, they did WCWO did that one for the veterans. Did that veterans fundraiser. Yeah, I mean, the more that you can bring in, the better.
And that even makes it more cost effective for the promoter too, if that promoter's putting a benefit show together, because there's some expenses that there's going to be to run a show. Well, if you have more promoters all in together, then that that expense gets spread out, and it's cheaper on everybody to help a good cause.
Yeah.
Because like DCCW, what they do around here, charity wise, benefit wise, I haven't heard many other. You got some other organizations do a lot, but the way DCCW does it, I haven't seen a lot to do it that way.
And I don't know their makeup completely. I do know BMFX and Lafayette does a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't know how the breakdown is. But they do it a lot. But yeah, the next 3 shows.
WCWO does like the Toys for Tots, and they've done a food drive, I think, and some stuff. So
they've done some stuff for Halloween, for the kids and stuff.
That thing they do on Halloween was awesome. If we lived closer, I'd have went down there for that Halloween thing, because that was cool. What they done, they set up out in the parking lot, had games, passed out candy, all kinds of stuff. It was.
Oh, maybe next year, or maybe this year, maybe we could go down there and broadcast live or something.
That was cool. It was a cool thing that they done, and like
take some candy down there.
And like April 16th here in Muncie, DCCW is putting on a show. All proceeds go to the Muncie Wrestling Club, Muncie Central High School team in the wrestling club. And and not just that it goes to them. It's not just putting on a show as a benefit. Look at the quality of show that they booked.
And 100% of the proceeds go to the Central Wrestling Club. I think if I'm correct, I think even the concessions.
I think so.
I'm pretty sure AJ, who was the coach over there last year, that's what he told me. And he said that's the way it was last year. And then they do that for Jay County also. So you got 2 shows back to back that they're not making any money off of. Zilch. And then they've got the free show the month after. So the next 3 shows that they're going to be running for this community, they're not bringing any income. Let's be honest. Terry and Mike, they have outside jobs. This is, they're not making a living off this. I'm not saying they don't make some money, but when you consider the time they're putting in, Chris, even if they do 10 shows a year, they're probably not making a whole lot of money.
Well,
counting their time.
I know they don't do quite 10. They probably do 8 to 9, and already 3 of them are free shows.
Yeah.
So,
and so I'm not saying they're not making money. I'm sure they do. But what I'm saying, once you add in the amount of time they're putting in,
yes,
they're not.
And honestly, with them too, and this is just me being around, ain't nothing that either one of them has like personally said to me, but just being around them, they're not in it to try to make a bunch of money. As long as they I think if they break even, that both of them would be ecstatic and be happy. I honestly do.
I don't know what when they first got into business, because I wasn't around, but I know that's what it is now. When they first started 4 years ago, I wasn't around, around them when they started, and but that's definitely what they, at the very least, became involved, into. I've heard them say it's about the community more than 100 times, so and people can say whatever they want to say, but it's their actions that count. And I see their actions. I see what they do with the senior citizens building and what they've done to help them. And then I've seen the wrestling shows and yeah, so yeah, they do a great job too.
Well, for like the senior citizen building, they do that. They go down there and do them Colts games every weekend during football season. And I don't think a lot of people don't know this. Mike King don't live in Muncie, and he's one of the up on that board.
Yep.
I mean, and not just that, a lot of the people from WCWO go help DCCW do those concession stands.
Yep, that's a fact.
To raise money for that community center. And I mean, them they live in Indianapolis. Most of those live in Indianapolis.
Yeah,
but that goes back to it being like a family.
Excuse me. Yeah, family. Yeah, definitely.
Another show I did want to talk about also, which by the time this airs will some people will watch this in the morning. So
yeah.
If you watch this Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern, Warrior Pro Wrestling has a show, WPW7. I'm expecting this to be a real good show. After the way the WPW6 ended last month, with the black market and all that stuff going on, I mean, the new women's championship, you got Vittoria against Cruel this weekend there.
Yep.
I'm expecting to be a great card. I mean, Kripke's on the card. Jeremy, hey, any show I go to that the president Jeremy Hadley's at, I'm going to be happy because I can listen to that dude cut a promo the whole show and it'd be worth my $10. So.
They added, they had to take Dillinger because Dillinger got hurt, so they added Nate Matthews, and that's a great pickup. And of course,
he's going against Radrick, isn't he?
Against Cole Radrick, who's been on Game Changer Wrestling and moving up in the ranks of the independent. So it should be a really good show. But the black market thing is definitely the thing that's got me interested. I'm really interested in the women's championship too. But yeah, it's the second half of that show was a great show. So really great. So I expect this to be a real good show. So I hope the fans, again, I forget the price, but not more than $12-15, I think, for front row
and first responders getting a discount price, and that's another organization that does some stuff that does charity stuff as well.
Yep,
that I know of. I'm sure quite a few of them do, but like I said, the ones we talk to the most and we know a little bit more about because we're around.
Yeah, the doors open at 2 and wrestling starts at 3, so should be a real good show. I mean, there's a lot of good.
That's another thing I like about it. It's on a Sunday, but it's at 3 in the afternoon, so you can go. And even us that live about an hour and 20 minutes away, we're still home by. I think last time we was home by 8 o'clock. So you're still home at a decent time, especially if you're. I don't really have to worry about, but if you're somebody that has younger kids,
you could be home the next day. We had to tear down our stuff and everything too. So you could be home. If you only live.
And we didn't get in a big hurry because we talked like to Marcus Fine and some of the people around after the show. So it ain't like we get in a real big hurry either to get out of there.
Yeah, that's going to be a real good show. And then we're going to be off. We're not going anywhere for Wrestlemainia weekend because I always cook a bunch of stuff and family comes over. But then the 9th, we got that big show, like I said, Jeffersonville. And then, of course, the big Bearcat Rumble on the 16th that I'm really looking forward to. And then I think back to Warrior Pro on the 24th. So.
Yep. And you forgot, you left out one. April 10th, Summit Pro.
Summit Pro.
That's gonna be a crazy weekend there. We're in Jeffersonville on Saturday, then Greenfield on Sunday.
We may not make it back after that weekend.
And I ain't gonna lie, I'm excited too. We're gonna get to see Rikishi 2 weekends in a row.
Yep.
Because he's gonna be down there at the Flex from Number 2, and he's gonna be at.
Well, let's bring that up about the Bearcat Rumble. Who's gonna be there?
Yeah.
That's going to be big. I mean,
we started talking about the charity stuff. We never got to the card.
The card is going to be fantastic. $20 tickets, $20 for front row seats, $10 for general admission. And listen to this card. You got Carlito, who was in WWE, held many championships. You got his brothers, Of course, I'm going to forget their names.
Epico and Primo.
Epico and Primo. They were WWE World Tag Team Champions, and I mean, you got those, and plus Rikishi's going to make an appearance. And then also another name I know is going to be Kongo Kong, who we just seen this past weekend and is fantastic. He's a former Impact wrestler, TNA wrestler. I mean, you got plus a lot of other great DCCW wrestlers going to be there. All their champions and all those guys are going to be there.
Tag Team of the Year, the Indiana Tag Team of the Year, the highlight reel. Manager of the Year,
Hollywood
House.
Dex Royal,
WWE prospect Dex Royal.
And he's also was, it came down the vote for Wrestler of the Year and they're tied, and so they reran it, and I think somebody else ended up winning it. But Dex is one.
Was it Shane Mercer?
I think it was Shane Mercer won, if I remember right.
And them two, them two right there, man.
Definitely two of the best in Indiana. So that's going to be there should be 400 or 500 people there. There's no reason not to be there. It's for a charity. For $20 to see those names is fantastic. We're not talking about paying $20 and setting up a nosebleed seat. We're talking about $20 sitting in the front row, and then getting the opportunity to meet them. And if you want to purchase some shirts, autographs,
even at $10, there's not a bad seat in the house. At a show like this, there's not a bad seat in the house. No. And the new DCCW venue there at the National Guard Armory is set up nice. It's a nice building. And I mean, it's a real close atmosphere. I'm looking forward to that April 16th show to be a lot of fun. I think that place is going to be rocking like it was for the Rock and Roll Express a month ago.
Yeah, it's going to be a great show. So hopefully people come out to that. I know you'll probably have tickets, or you can get tickets for them, or you can go to DCCW's not website, but their
Facebook page.
And you could Facebook or you could get a hold of Terry Coons and or Mike King, and they can get your tickets. And plus they have outlets. We'll have more information on that Monday night. Coupon Corner, and they should have all their outlets set up by then. But you can get your tickets. So
yeah, you want to make sure you join us Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern for the G.W.R. and DCCW Coondog Corner. Be a lot of news and information. Everything coming out about the April 16th show, especially now that the flyers out there and everything. There'll be a lot more to talk about. So make sure you tune in Monday night. You can find that on the at Gonzo Sports Room on Facebook and YouTube, or Delaware County Championship Wrestling Facebook page as well. It'll be live on all three of those on a Monday night.
Yep.
And it should be a good show Monday night. I mean, hopefully, I think the ladies' man seems like he's feeling better, so hopefully he'll be here. Yep. And now we actually can talk more about the April show since everything's finally figured out in concrete. Yep. So I'm expecting Monday night to be a fun show.
Well, I know the name that they were trying to get, and it kind of fell through. I'm sure Money, he's a real hot property right now, but the three names that they got, I think is even better, personally. So I think it's going to be a great show.
Yeah, I know this isn't about wrestling, but Sarah McMahon, you know who she is, got second in Olympics wrestling. She's fighting right now in the UFC prelims.
Oh, really?
Yep. I just looked up. I forgot. I remember seeing her on the card from where I broke it down and gave out my picks, but I forgot all about it. And I looked up and her fight had just started. Also, I know this is a pro wrestling podcast, but big shout out to Indiana native Nick Lee on winning another college wrestling national title.
Yep.
And he might have cemented himself as probably the best wrestler that's come out of Indiana. I know he has to be right up there. I mean, you've had a lot of good ones.
Well, wasn't Gable Stevenson?
I'm gonna say I think he was if I remember right, didn't damn it, Scotty? Didn't Scotty used to wrestle when they were younger?
I think so. Scotty or Crabtree, one of the two.
Yeah, one of the two.
I think he was originally from Indiana. But yeah, Gable Stevenson, of course, he's going to be Mason Paris.
Yep. Mason Paris.
Both of those guys going to be in WWE. So
I'm looking forward to seeing that. So Gable has a pretty good personality, so I think that's going to be
From
fun.
all things I hear about Gable Stevenson, that they think he's going to be the next real big thing. He's going to be another Brock Lesnar, is what they're thinking, and that. So
I know he's good. He's also good friends with Brock Lesnar. I mean, Brock went back to Minnesota a bunch to work and would work out with them and stuff. So, and going into the WWE, that's a good guy to have in your corner because, I mean, look what Brock's done in the WWE. So I mean, and Brock done the same thing. Came from college wrestling over to. All right. Was there anything else that you had down that you wanted to get to today?
No, we got WrestleMania coming up, but maybe we can maybe do our show earlier next week, maybe before WrestleMania, and put it out. What do you think?
Yeah.
Or maybe do 2 shows. Maybe put one out for Friday, kind of a WrestleMania one. Maybe we can tape one before Friday and put it out, or put out one for Saturday morning and put one out for Sunday or something. We'll figure it out. But
we can do something like that. We'll figure it out.
But because WrestleMania, they're still getting the matches together, and I think WrestleMania is going to be really good this year. So excited about that.
Because if everything, just keep it on the lookout in our social media pages. Because if everything works out right, I think we're going to try to go do something live Friday night for the SmackDown and the Hall of Fame stuff. So
Undertaker, yep, that'd be cool. All right, well, I don't have anything else.
Well, I appreciate everybody watching. If there's stuff you want to hear us talk about, messages on our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all at Gonzo Sports Room. There's certain topics you'd like to hear us talk about, just send them to us, and we'll definitely talk to them. I know we have another interview coming up April 4th. We had the interview with AECW owner Shane Kelser earlier this week. The marvelous Mr. Bell, Jordan Bell, who Kelser talked quite a bit about during that interview. He's going to be here April 4th with us to kind of talk about the April 9th show as well.
Okay.
And then we have some other interviews that we're working on. So
we'll try to get maybe one of the wrestlers from the DCCW on maybe before the 16th. So
I'm working on getting Savage Love on. We've had them on separately, but we'll see if we can't maybe get the tag team on.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
We appreciate everybody watching, and we will see you guys next Sunday.
Yep. See you guys later.